is the Final Bosman, and on today's episode, it's about to get real disturbing, my friends. Wee! Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and for the second time in Final Bosman history, I have forgotten to take my suit to work. Been doing this show for a year. Only forgetting it twice is pretty good, considering how disorganized I am. Had a good weekend, though. Played a lot of games, a lot of weird games. I've tried the Final Fantasy XIV beta. I played Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for PlayStation 1. I played the whole game. It's not good. I played the first SSX. I played Mercenary Kings. But one game I played this weekend shook me to the core. A game so twisted and wrong that I kept playing through it out of some demented curiosity for how much worse it could possibly get. I'm talking, of course, about Rusty's Real Deal Baseball. Today's list, why Rusty's Real Deal Baseball is the most effed up game I've ever played. Number one, it's a game about buying games. So how do I explain Rusty's Real Deal Baseball? This is a game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 3DS. It is a collection of 10 baseball-themed minigames, much like Wii Sports Resort, except in this case you have to buy each of these 10 games individually. However, the goal of this game is to give money to this poor old dog. The entire point of this game is to spend money on games. The currency of this game is real-life US dollars. You're spending real money inside of this game. I've never played a game like this, where the money inside of the game is real-life money. Nintendo published this game, and that all actually ties into the game's scenario. Story starts like this. Rusty Slugger, former pro baseball player. Now he's just a sad old dog. He's got a baseball equipment store. That's not doing great. He's having a hard time making a profit. And his reasoning is, kids these days, they all love video games. Nobody loves baseball. So here's what I'll do. I'll sell video games that remind them how much fun baseball is. And then you, the person playing this, you are his one and only customer. And it is you, by the way. It is the user me even. So you, whoever you are yourself inside of this game, buying games inside of the game to play inside of the games. It's effed up. Number two, guilt is a component of this game's design. So the way the game starts, each of these 10 mini games costs $4. So you could, if you're lazy, just spend $40 and be done with it. However, you can haggle these prices down. Rusty's willing to haggle. And so the way that you earn the ability to haggle is you play the mini games and you get items that you can use toward haggling, and then you sweet talk them and stuff. However, the game's designers, when they were thinking of how to make Rusty, how to make this thing that you feel good about giving money to and feel bad about haggling with, they created this poor oaf, this washed up old baseball player with a comb over, with hair growing out of his nose. He's got 10 kids. His wife left him. They're separated. He's tanking. His little shop is tanking. Can't make a profit. Everything's going wrong for him. Doesn't even know how to cook. And then you come in wanting a cheaper price on everything. You are the antagonist. It's clear Rusty's the protagonist of this story. This story is about Rusty, not you, the player, the me who's wandering into his store. You are working against him getting the best price for his products. In the meantime, he's saying, this is really gonna hurt my margins. It's gonna be hard to make a profit off this one. Gosh, I sure am sick of microwaving hot dogs. And you just smile and you don't care. You talk him down because you want the lowest price. This game, the game is intentionally making you feel guilty for wanting the best price on these mini games. And that's effed up. Number three, you induce haggling by throwing a donut at Rusty. So Rusty loves donuts. He's just a dog who loves donuts. And once you give him a donut, he becomes happy and more willing to negotiate with you. And when you give him a donut, It's not to make him happy, it's for the negotiation. You are manipulating Rusty. And there's no way to haggle without it. You walk into a store, here's a little donut, you little turd. Now give me a deal. It's effed. It's real effed up. Number 4, free to start. So this whole game, you can download it for free right now. You can start it for free. And what you get is you get a small portion of one of the mini games, a demo of a mini game. And then you learn how to haggle, and you talk one game down to $2, and that's all you get for free. And I would have stopped there. However, there's this thing that I've been having recently, I guess over the course of the last year, where because I have this show, I start making video game purchases I probably wouldn't have. Like Harry Potter, I was like, hey, maybe I could use this for the show somehow. Maybe there's something neat in here. No, that game does not hold up. Don't go play Harry Potter right now. At least that one. Same thing, I was right there. Rusty said, lowest I can go is $2. And I said, well, maybe I can talk about this on my show. I gave him $2 and that was it. The problem is, I started liking this game. Once I was in, I was in. And I started caring about Rusty's story, about him giving his life back together, about him caring about his kids. And I started liking the mini games. They are like Wii Sports Resort, where it's like, oh, this works better than I thought it would. And one other thing, the thing I actually love about this game, and this is probably one of the weird asides we should edit out of the show, is that in this game, Rusty makes sense of the Nintendo company within the games universe. You see, I'm an anxious person. I get a little anxious about a lot of little things. One of those is when game universes don't make sense. One example, I remember in college, we were talking about Mario Kart, and one thing about Mario Kart that always bothered me a little is that there'd be tracks like in the clouds or on Rainbow Road, and no indication of how a kart could actually get all the way up to these tracks. And one of my friends goes, oh, well, obviously the Lakitus do that. And I'm like, yeah, that actually totally made sense. It felt so good to hear that. It was like taking off a pair of socks at the end of the day. It's like, yes, actually that does make sense. I can learn to embrace Mario Kart a little more. Very similar thing with Diddy Kong's hat. How does it say Nintendo? How does a hat from Nintendo, the company that makes Diddy Kong, exist within the same world as Diddy Kong? Rusty says, hey, Nintendo isn't actually a video game company. It's the company that made toys, that made this thing called the Ultra Machine, which is a pitching machine in most of my mini games. So don't worry about Diddy Kong's hat. That's a hat from a toy company. Phew. Thank you, Rusty. However, Donkey Kong in Tropical Freeze can still whip out a 3DS and play himself in his own game. When I'm 45 and finally going to the therapist, that's gonna be the first thing I talk about. I'm like, oh, I don't get why Donkey Kong can play his own game. What do you want me to say? I get people with real problems. But it is effed. Number 5, Rusty gives you one of his 10 children for the entire game. This old dog is so overwhelmed with his gigantic family that he gives you, a complete stranger, his 5-year-old son or daughter to play with for potentially forever. That's effed up, man. Number 6, this could be the future of video games. So the way this game ends is it promises that there will be a sequel with aliens even. How dare you, Rusty? Halo 2 had a cliffhanger. Had Master Chief going back to Earth, said, I'm gonna finish the fight. Okay. Rusty, he just wants to come back and take more of your money. He promises he's coming back. And Nintendo does a funny thing. They ask you within the game if you are willing to submit your data to Nintendo and that it will affect how they develop future games. Normally I say yes to this kind of thing because that is valuable information. In this case, I didn't want Nintendo watching me spend money on this game. And that's the scary thing, is Nintendo is clearly watching this game closely. They do care about how this works out. You might remember earlier this year, Satoru Iwata had that whole investor speech where he had to admit that Nintendo wasn't doing great, but then had a bunch of crazy ideas. One of those crazy ideas was to implement this system in which buying more games would make the next games less expensive. It's better in his words. Based on our account system, if we can offer flexible price points to consumers who meet certain conditions, we can create a situation where these consumers can enjoy our software at cheaper price points when they purchase more. It can't be a coincidence that Rusty had the exact same idea. The first game you buy is $2. The second one, $1.90, then $1.80, then $1.70, then $1.60, and then $1. Rusty is trying Iwata's idea out. It almost seems to me, you can call me crazy, that Nintendo made a game about buying games to test out its ideas about buying games. Because that's what Rusty is doing, and the problem is, it feels good. The way the system works is when you buy this game, it makes the next one cheaper. And then you feel good about this one. You feel good about having this at a reduced price, and you also feel good about buying that old one because it made this one cheaper. And you feel good about this future game because it's cheaper because of that one, and it's gonna make that game cheaper. You get caught up in this. It is scary. You thought Ground Zeroes was scary? Rusty's Real Deal Baseball is a nightmare where your parents turn around and have owl faces. This is one sip of scorpion vodka I do not care to take. And I make fun of like mobile games because they seem to be designed around monetization first and then they just plunk a game in there. This game, Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, this was an experiment first and then a game placed into this. This is Nintendo's little video game laboratory and we're just the fuzzy-bellied little rats they're poking at. Will this work? They're just testing out their theories and we're just waving around our 3DSs carelessly, just ignorant of the strange tests that are occurring. It's effed up. This is the reason why Rusty's Real Deal Baseball is the most effed up game I've ever played. 8.5. And that's the episode for this week. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. I will be back here next Wednesday. I will remember my suit, and I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Philip Delafield, the richest boy in the world. Will you give me money? Are you sure? I'm selling a bunch of old toys I don't want for actual US currency. If you don't buy anything, I might just jump off the balcony. Philip! Philip! Philip!